Can I just say one thing firstly? I love the name Eat, Sleep, Boxing, Repeat.
Welcome back to ESBR Boxing in association with sharpbetting.co.uk. Myself and Paul, we are back. That means one thing only. We're in preview mode, and we are previewing again what is another monster fight taking place in the Kingdom of Iridia. Obviously, on this super card, that also includes Dubois, Parker, Adama, Shiraz, Bivol, Benavides, all that Bivol Benavides, Bivol Patervia is what I meant to say. Obviously on this sort of monster super card. But here we are, Paul. We are in super welterweight action, WC interim super welterweight action between two guys really that are quite well known. I suppose I've had high profile fights recently. Vergil Ortiz versus Ismail Madrimov. Madrimov obviously coming fresh off of that fight against Terence Crawford. And Ortiz obviously from that sort of violent exchange with Bohanchuk that happened recently as well. So the question I really want to ask you though is, as I said, Ismail Madrimov has just fought Terence Crawford, but I want to pick up on Vergil Ortiz and say, do you think, in your mind, that Ortiz Jr. could beat Terence Crawford up at £154? Or do you think that Crawford will sail past Vergil Ortiz on his way to Canelo? What do you reckon?
Yeah, thanks, man. It's an interesting one, isn't it? I think Vergil Ortiz has been brilliant since he's moved up from welterweight. I think real gut check last time out against Bochuk. Came through that. Not an easy fight by any stretch. Horrible style, Bochuk. Really difficult to beat, but Ortiz did. Fair play to him there. Learned a lot and will have learned a lot from it. In terms of Terence Crawford, though, I think that's a different kettle of fish for me. Think I don't. I'm not sitting here saying that we'll see the fight. I just actually can't. I don't know if we'll see it because if Crawford fight before September if he is getting that Canelo fight? Probably not. And will we ever see Crawford at 154 again? Who knows? Probably maybe not. He maybe just had that Madrimov. Yeah, I'm the best at super welter. See you later. But if that was to happen, let's say hypothetically that fight does happen, Ortiz Jr. against Terence Crawford at 154 pounds, I'm still backing Bud, mate. I can't back against Bud Crawford. He's a pound for pound great. He's an absolute superstar. Two-weight undisputed champion. Could be three if he beats Saul Canelo Alvarez. But yeah, mate, for me, as good as Vergil Ortiz is and as impressed as I was of him last time out against Bochuk, you got to favour Terence Crawford still to beat him, in my opinion.
Yeah, I can't disagree with you. I think you're looking at Terence Crawford as like an elite fighter. And even though Vergil Ortiz has come through, like you said, that gut check, that acid test, 21 KOs in 22 fights. Got some good names on the card now, obviously, as well. When you're looking at, obviously, your man McKinson down there as well was another one of we previewed on this show, I remember. But yeah, I still think you've got to go with Terence Crawford, don't you, to be perfectly honest with you, even at this stage, even with the sort of fights he's had. You're not looking at, you're not going to bet against Terence Crawford, obviously, in a fight at that weight. But what I want to ask you, Paul, is Vergil Ortiz, as I said, 21 KOs in 22 fights. Madrimov obviously not got as many fights, but 7 KOs and 10 victories. Obviously, he's got the one loss last time out to Crawford, and that draw with Sorrow. But do you see this ending prematurely, or do you see this as being one of those fights potentially where, because they both tend to sort of carry a bit of a bang, they're a bit wary, and it maybe goes points? Do you think it's a stoppage here, Paul, or not? Without giving away who you reckon wins, does it go 12, Paul, or does it go within the distance?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's an interesting question you're asking me there, Elliot, because on the surface, if you just looked at both of their records and their knockout percentage, you're like, oh, this isn't going the distance. But I actually kind of agree in somewhat of what you've said. And on the other sense, I would be more surprised if there was a stoppage in this fight. To be quite frank, I think I would go as far as saying I'd be surprised if this doesn't go the full 36 minutes. I do think that we'll see this fight go the full distance. Could they cancel each other out? I think both are going to be aware of each other's power, but I don't think either is a concussive puncher, as in like a one punch knockout artist. I think it's more, volume. Vergil Ortiz throws a lot of punches. Madrimov does as well. Um, I don't see there being a stoppage here, mate. I think that if it does come, it'll be it wouldn't be a one hitter quitter. It'll be a sustained, almost beating somewhat, and someone's maybe exhausted, and the other one's just lands 5 or 6 shots in a row, and the referee maybe waves it off or whatever if it's going one way. That's the only way I can see this ending, mate. Yeah, but right here, right now, my money's on this going the distance.
Yeah, I actually we hadn't discussed this before the video, and I'm disappointed almost that we're aligned because I was hoping you were going to say yes, definitely finishes. I was going to say no, it doesn't, Paul. But I totally agree with you. Actually, I think it's one of them where you look at Ortiz's record. He's obviously blown a load of guys out there, but it's almost like now he's at a higher level. I don't see that kind of happening. So I almost see him kind of like that KO percentage maybe going down slightly. When he faces these sort of guys. I think Madrimov again. you look at it and go, yeah, well, there's good stoppage on there. Kurman offers good stoppage as well. But I look at it and go, can I see him getting royalties out there? Maybe not. I think it will be a case of, like you say, both aware of each other's power, both throw a lot of punches. Well, both will be exhausted, but I can almost see, I can actually see it going the distance. So I can see it being quite technical and seeing both countries each other around going the distance. But we are aligned on it going the distance, Paul. But are we? We don't know what your predictions will be before we come in. But are we aligned with who wins, Paul? And the question I'm going to ask you is, who wins then? It's points, Paul. Who wins it? Ortiz Jr. or Madrimov? Talk to me.
Such a difficult fight. Real 50-50 in my eyes.
Yeah.
I mean, I think this is arguably the closest fight and the most difficult one to call. Certainly outside of the main event, maybe between Bivol and Turbiev. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sticking with what I've said all along. I'm gonna pick Madrimov to win. Super close decision. Um, I'm high on Israil Madrimov. I think he's brilliant. He gave Terence Crawford a lot of problems. He didn't win the fight. It wasn't a robbery or anything like that, but he did give Crawford a lot of problems. I think he'll do the same for Vergil Ortiz, and I do think that Madrimov's another slight step up in my eyes from Boachuk, in which some people maybe even had Vergil Ortiz losing that fight. So yeah, I'm going Madrimov. A 7-5, a 6-all, or six apiece. But there's a knockdown in there, a point deducted somewhere. It wouldn't surprise me of a split, a majority decision, whatever it is, mate. I'm going Madrimov on points, but razor thin.
Yeah, you know what? I'm shocked because we haven't talked about this again. I said we didn't talk about this before we came online. Didn't know what you were going to predict, but I'm actually agreeing with you. I also think Machimov's going to win this. I think it's going to be, again, very, very close, like 7-5 kind of fight. I can see it actually being one of those ones where, at the end, they're both knackered, they're both hanging off each other, and they're kind of just like, the rounds are kind of hard to score and quite razor close at the end. But I reckon Machimov's going to get it over. I thought, like we said, it was very impressive performance against Crawford. I just got a feeling that Ortiz, despite being really good, obviously is good up to a certain level, and the guys that he's obviously fought against and that's blown out. So for me, I just feel like Madrimov offers a different technical challenge, which I think actually is gonna give him the first loss on his CV here. But guys, let us know what you think, how you see this fight going out. Maybe also how you see Ortiz versus going against Crawford, whether you see this being a stoppage here or points. How you even see this maybe it's been one of the harder fights to call on the card. Let us know what you like. Obviously, like and subscribe to the channel. I said at the top of the video. Paul, as always, thank you very much for joining me, guys. As always, thank you very much for watching.
Cheers, Elliot. All the best.